Yo, what's good? Stu here, Stu TV. I cover all things blockchain, metaverse, crypto, NFTs, all that good stuff. Just coming back with another video, just another video for the beginner series. Just gonna be covering blockchain, specifically like what is blockchain, and going over a couple like cross-chain blockchain ecosystem maps to get an actual visual in terms of like, all right, interacting with a blockchain. These are how the blockchains actually look, things that's actually built on top of it, different dApps, DEXs, wallets, technologies, and showing that each individual blockchain has those particular components to allow them to run as a network. Actually get into it, and we'll read some of this article. We're actually going to get into some ecosystems, look at that, do some breakdown. There's different chains tracking by volume, and then we'll get into a recap. But let's get into it. Blockchain is shared immutable ledger that facilitates the process of recording transactions and tracking assets in a business network. An asset can be tangible, a house, car, land, or intangible intellectual property, copyright, and branding. Virtually anything of value can be tracked and traded on the blockchain network, reducing risk and reward. So you can have like an actual technology where you can start owning things digitally, or have like, you know, they call it like digital DNA, that trackable asset to where you can track it via, you know, offline or online with just like different Oracle processes. But yeah, we're going to definitely just keep it in a certain different slot of this video. But let's read more. Why is blockchain important? Business run on information. The faster the information received and the more accurate it is, the better. Blockchain is ideal for delivering that information because it provides immediate and shared observable information that is stored on a mutable ledger that is only permissioned network member can access. A blockchain network can track orders, payments, accounts, production, and much more. And because members share a single view of the truth, you can see all the details of a transaction end to end, giving you greater confidence and newer efficiencies. So blockchain is just taking all this specific information and then tracking it and being able to like access it through different dApps, different technologies that's built on that particular blockchain, and how that network actually runs and ties it all together. So that's what allows the trackability of payments, orders, like accounts. Like if you make a transaction on a blockchain, it's forever immutable. So that permission is stored to where you can access it at any point. So let's look at the key elements of a blockchain. Distributed ledger technology. All network participants have access to the distributed ledger, an immutable record of transactions. With this shared ledger, transactions are only recorded once, eliminating the duplication of efforts that typically of traditional business networks. Immutable records. No participant can tamper and change with the transaction after it's been recorded to a shared ledger. If the transaction includes an error, a new transaction must be added to a reverse, and both transactions are visible. And then you have smart contracts. Smart contracts to speed transactions. A set of rules that are called smart contracts is stored on the blockchain automatically. A smart contract defines conditions for corporate bond transfers, including the travel insurance to be paid and much more. So I want to just go over just quickly, like a distributed ledger is where you can actually just see all the just records of transactions, where you can see like digitally, okay, this transaction went through at this time. This, if somebody else had a transaction, you can also look that up as well. And then immutable is forever there, so you can't go permit or just erasing. But just with any centralized process, sometimes there might be just a misfile of records or not keeping that. But that immutable records could be applied to like healthcare, financial, just being able to track traceability of foods. So that immutable records part, it just allows for that permanent just transparency when you're interacting with this tech. And also, let's get into smart contracts. I know I read that before, and I want to break that down a little bit more. So a smart contract is basically a set list of instructions, that the smart contract is ordered to actually automate and run anytime like a transaction is recognized. I always like to make the example of a vending machine. When it comes to like a vending machine, if you press like F8, then a bag of chips is going to come out. It's automatically programmed that way. If you press F7 or E6 or however the vending machine is set up, it's already predefined. If you hit like certain numbers or certain letters, it's predefined to have a certain bag item or chip or cookie to be able to come out as far as be placed in the same spot. So that is a parallel as far as understanding that smart contracts just are a list of set instructions or conditions. Once that transaction is recognized, then it completes those lists of transactions and conditions and automatically automatically goes through. So how a blockchain works, as each transaction records, it records as a block of data. Those transactions show the movement of an asset, can be tangible or intangible. The data block can record the information, who, what, when, where, and how, and even when the record conditions such as the temperature of food shipment, like I was covering before. Each block to the ones before and after it, these blocks have a chain of data. An asset moves from place to place of ownership and change hands. The block confirms the exact time and sequence of transactions, and the block links securely together to prevent any blocks being altered or block being inserted between two existing blocks. So that's how it has like the persistent chain, is each block comes on top of each other, and that's how you have a blockchain. Each block is going behind each other in an asset, and then also it confirms in like different time sequences. I know it's just a whole bunch just to take in, but just understand that just blockchains are just like irreversible transactions that are put in certain sections as the block lines up in the network. Benefits of a blockchain: what needs to change? Operations often waste effort on duplicating records and third-party validations. Record-keeping systems can be vulnerable to fraud and cyber attacks. Limited transparency can slow down data, and the arrival of IoT transaction volumes have exploded. All this business drains the bottom line, and we need a better way to enter. So there are different things as far as within blockchain, whether you get into a centralized blockchain or this decentralized blockchain, and then also the way in which the blockchain is actually coded in. Those are also just different factors when you're just looking into just specific blockchains. Certain blockchains are faster than others. Every blockchain is built a little bit different, but as you just interact with more blockchains, you start looking at the ecosystems, the maps, looking at what's being built, then you'll kind of just figure out, all right, this is exactly the type of blockchain, or based on TVL, based on volume, based on whatever technology you're looking for. Let's get the greater trust. With blockchain as a member only network, you can rest assured that you're receiving accurate and timely data, and that your confidentiality blockchain records are stored only with network members who granted you access. Greater security on the data. Accuracy is required from all network members, and all validated transactions are immutable because they are recorded permanently. No one, and not even one system administration, can delete transaction. So let's actually just look in here. What is blockchain? The basic of blockchain. So it kind of just go over like just different things. A traceability, a traceable supply chain. The food chain, the food industry is one of many being transformed through blockchain technology. Learn how it can be traced and where food can be grown and picked, shipped, and processed, all while protecting the data network. So the biggest thing, blockchain technology, matter what industry, what form of tech, as far as how these techs interline and support within the blockchain, is blockchain is supposed to build transparency. So even looking down here, blockchain builds trust. So that's the one thing just within the blockchain is transparency, because you might not be able to take as far as a transaction, or from a centralized point of view, did the transaction go through? Is there a misfiling of records? Transaction with blockchains and new technologies is allowing empowerment, so where people can have efficiency and transparency and confidence amongst themselves when they interact with these networks. So blockchain, the biggest thing it's supposed to highlight is transparency within different type of industries. So let's look at some type of blockchain networks, and then we're going to scroll down a little bit more in this article, and then I'm going to just get over to the overviews as far as showing the visual. But let's keep going. Types of blockchain networks. There are several ways to build a blockchain network. They can be public, private, permission, or built by consortiums. A public blockchain is one that anyone can join and participate in, such as Bitcoin. Drawbacks might include the substantial computing power that is required, or little or no privacy for transactions, weak security. These are important considerations for enterprises' use case of the blockchain. You also have private networks. A private blockchain is similar to a public blockchain network, is the centralized peer-to-peer network. However, one organization governs the network, controlling who is allowed to participate, run consensus protocol, maintain the shared ledger. Depending on the use case, this can significantly boost trust and confidence between the participants. A private blockchain can be run behind a corporate firewall and even be hosted on premises. Permission blockchain networks. Businesses who set up private blockchains will generally set up a permission blockchain. It's important to note that the public blockchain can also be permissioned. This places restrictions on who is allowed to participate in the network and in what transactions. Participants need to obtain an invitation to or permission to join. So we could look into like some blockchain application. Let's also look at some use cases. So you can see tracing fresh seafood through a moment is caught. So IBM Food Trust is helping raw seafoods increase trust across food supply chain by tracing everything they catch from the water all the way up to supermarkets and restaurants. So just being able to trace the moment that the food is caught or the live food, and then having a trackable process individually to that specific fish or animal that's caught, all the way down to how it's packaged, going into the supermarket so it lands on your plate, and having an actual transactional process that tracks the whole thing. So improving cryptocurrency and security, even in healthcare. So you have it in fuel. So blockchain can be applied to many different industries, whether we're talking the car industry, the health industry, the video game industry, the fashion industry. It does not matter what industry. You could take blockchains because of the actual way that it's set up through smart contracts, through all these different platforms, and then build a system around that to enforce transparency as far as just amongst consumers and build a base. So it's being able to take essentially like a Web 2 concept and apply it in Web 3 and build on top of it. So but let's keep going. So these are all the industries, like I said before, and there's many other industries on how blockchain can be used. So let's actually look into some of the FAQs, and then we're going to go through the rest of this article. What is the difference between blockchain and Bitcoin? Bitcoin is an unregulated digital security. Bitcoin uses blockchain technology as its transactional ledger. And then, can I deploy any iCloud I want? So we're just actually going to just go through just some of these different things. So they have some resources, and you can also just take the next step. But let's actually go and just look into some blockchain ecosystems. This is the blockchain Bitcoin map. So these are all the things as far as vast networks growing on the Bitcoin network, the Bitcoin ecosystem. Over the ultimate Bitcoin ecosystem map. Explore the vast and fast growing Bitcoin ecosystem through the Bitcoin ecosystem map for premier on scaling solutions built on top of the Bitcoin network. So it actually just goes into like, you know, what's a layer 2. So let's actually click on this article. We'll read a little bit of this. What is a Bitcoin layer 2? Why build on Bitcoin now? Bitcoin stands as a pinnacle of blockchain technology and has been rigorously tested and maintaining its decentralized nature. The foundation ensures both users and developers enjoy robust security features, safeguarding their digital assets and transactions. So let's actually just look. So these are some of the Bitcoin layer 2s that actually will show unleashing Bitcoin potential with layer 2 networks. As original cryptocurrency, Bitcoin has paved the way for digital revolution, yet its design as a secure decentralized currency has limited its scalability, with Bitcoin network capable of processing only about 7 transactions per second. The limitation has led to network congestion on high transaction fees during peak times, making transactions impractical, limiting Bitcoin's utility for everyday use, enhancing the scalability. So you have state channels, rolled up side chains. So layer 2s be able to layer 2 networks leverage mechanics like state channels, roll up side chains to improve transaction fees. For example, roll-up chains bundle multiple transactions into one single piece of data. So you could be able to add building on top of a specific chain. So I know Bitcoin was always sold as a store of value, but now you see like different things actually being built on top of Bitcoin, whether it's different protocols, BRC20s, runes. So let's actually just go back to the ecosystem, and it'll just show these layer 2 Bitcoin networks. These are all the networks you can look into. I know I'm involved in Stacks. Just have some other ones like BLB. They have Merlin chain. So these are just individual ones that you can look up. And let's actually look at this. Stacks is a Bitcoin layer 2. Stacks allows developers to leverage Bitcoin as a secure base layer for smart contracts and apps. The Stacks layer accelerates Bitcoin scalability and program with fast block times, finality, and seamless decentralized BTC deposits and withdrawals. What makes Stacks unique? At Bitcoin layer for smart contracts, Stacks has the following innovations that make it unique. Proof of transfer consistent means all transactions on the Stacks are settled to Bitcoin, allowing applications to modify security with Bitcoin without Bitcoin layer 1. So these are all this stuff being built under the Stack protocol. So it's a layer 2 on Bitcoin, and these are all the actual wallets like DeFi, just different things that you can access under the Stacks ecosystem. So I don't want to get too deep within this video, but this is just our overview of layer 2 networks. So the biggest thing I'll say what Bitcoin is, people can say, oh, I missed out on Bitcoin, this, that, and the third. Well, the next best thing is things that's actually being built on top of the Bitcoin ecosystem, and be able to look strategically into here and just seeing, okay, these are the top layer 2 networks. how can I strategically position myself there and get involved with some of the tech and start to capitalize and monetize on these different tokens and use cases and different things in the BTC network. So you can just see all the different ones. They have Bitcoin top DeFi protocols. So these are just different swaps, different stuff that you can go into. They have just a list. It shows you the specific token of that token hasn't been released yet. Some people, if a token hasn't been released, they go into farming it, so you can check out just different websites. So it's a lot of things that you could track within the Bitcoin ecosystem. So anyway, we're looking in, so you can see all the things that's being built on top of the Avalanche ecosystem, to where you have just DEX aggregators, you'll have fast on chain, so you can just see all these different networks that's being built in the Cardano ecosystem. So they have NFT marketplaces, subnet DEXs, they have domain names. So every blockchain has this as far as different things, like how it's being built out to be able to make it a chain. So it just shows you all these different dApps, all these different networks that you could just look into. So you could just go down a rabbit hole in terms of looking in, all right, this is what's going on the Avalanche ecosystem and network. And there's so many dApps, there's so many different things being built, but this is how people get actually into a blockchain, is they look in specific dApps depending on what specific sector of technology, whether that's NFTs, whether that's DeFi, whether that's gaming, and then based on that they'll target specific blockchains based on what they're looking for. And then it just allows the process to get super targeted in a specific ecosystem and capitalize based on that process. So let's actually look into the Cardano map. So this is Cardano. So you have just DEXs, you have wallets, education, infrastructure. So every blockchain has the same thing. So anytime you just go from different blockchains, the one thing that you're going to look for is, yo, give me my swaps, give me my DEXs, give me my wallets. And then from there, you can have a flow just around just how you move throughout the ecosystem. All blockchains are going to have meme coins that attracts just other people from other blockchains or people coming into the ecosystem. But you can look at all the DEXs. So DEXs is what I covered in a last video. These are your swaps, where you'll swap for a native token. These are your wallets. So you're going to have your wallets, your Name Me wallet, your Eternal, your Vesper. I know those are some of the top wallets, even Yori, and then even having a ledger. Education, they have infrastructure, and then AI. This is some of the AI components. These are different things being built within the AI sector on a different blockchain. Then they have the DeFi. You have your lending and borrowing, so you can specifically target whatever specific area and check out all the DeFi of Cardano, check out all the DeFi of Bitcoin, check out all the DeFi of Tezos, check out all the DeFi of Solana. If DeFi is what you're specifically into, if you're looking into lending and borrowing, then check out the lending and borrowing of every specific blockchain. Or you're looking at meme coins or stable coins, however you want to play it, just look at that specific sector in that specific area of technology on all chains to maximize your options. So you got payments and stable coins, you got tool explorers. So there's so many things, guys. I don't want to just, continue to break down everything, but this is overall to give you a general overview and an inside perspective of, all right, this is all the things that a blockchain has inside and built on top. And people continue to build because it's an actual network where people can build on top of the network and then also monetize in a way. And then it's like it's a peer network where everybody is interacting. It's not just one institution or just one layer controlling the entire process. Community DAO. So there's so many things, gaming, even how this is being built. And this is more of a decentralized blockchain when it comes to Cardano. So let's look into Solana. So we go over to Solana, same thing. It has the different infrastructures, the DeFi, the payments, the NFTs, and then you could be able to browse by category. So if you want to just look into gaming, it'll show you all the different gaming projects that's being set up. If you want to look into mobile, it'll show you all those different processes. If you want to look into art, it'll show you that. So this will allow you and show you this is what exactly the blockchain ecosystem is being built on. And then it shows you just different wallets that you can have. I know they had the Phantom wallet to where you can see, but these are all the infrastructure as far as the Solana chain. And you can get deep, and I'll definitely drop all these links below in the description, and I'll drop even more chains that I couldn't even cover in this video. But it's a lot that you could be able to cover specific blockchains, and it shows you all the top wallets, all your DEXs, all your swaps. So this every blockchain, once you understand, then you start to get into a flow. Let's go over to Tezos. So builders, creators, and innovators all committed to growing and building on the energy efficient, upgradable Tezos protocol. So same thing, it just has just all the different things as far as community, stable coins, NFTs, dev tools, gaming, and then you can actually just look up your wallets. These are all the DeFi, so just your wallets, your swaps, your dexes, anything that's being built on the Tezos ecosystem. You can be able to look at it here and just see all the different projects. Testopia is an NFT game. They have the stacks report. So many different interactions on the different subsector of technology that I haven't interacted with. So you have to imagine, guys, with all these different blockchains, there's probably tons and tons and thousands of dApps being built on it every day. And that's what drives up the price in terms of different things and catalysts and news. Let's say a Pacific Dex or a swap or just a different dApp and technology shoots up X amount of percent. Well, that brings liquidity to the whole chain. You know how high that liquidity go. That chain, as far as the overall price, and skyrocket based on the different dApps is being built. So these are all the stuff within the Tezos ecosystem. Also drop that link. And then this is the Cosmos blockchain. And then it just shows you all the interchain systems. It shows you just all the stuff that's being built. So it has Celestia, Osmos, Stripe, and then it just shows you DePIN, finance, gaming, infrastructure. And then you can just look and see and just check out your wallets and then go to DePIN. What does that look like? All right, let's go all to the finance sector and just different things being built on the finance through the Cosmos ecosystem. And then you have all your different dexes, your wallets, your swaps, and smart contracts and social games. So there's so many different things that's being built on these particular chains. I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like I know every single one, but now that you have an overview, you could take each individual chain and say, hey, I just want to look at all the top dexes and see all the top swaps for all particular chains. Or hey, I want to go to all the top social dApps that's being built on these different chains, and I'm trying to find what's going to blow up in the next social media. So strategically, you can find that in a particular subsector and look through that Pacific network. Those are some couple ecosystems that I'm just going to go over. I'll definitely drop more in the links below in the description, and let's actually just go over the chains and look in the DeFi alignment and track the different chains. So this is how you can actually see, you know, what's going on with your Pacific chain. So depending on what chain that you actually get into and what chain that you actually looking to quote unquote attack, you can be able to see different volumes. It's 24-hour volume, and you can be able to track and see, okay, this is where the volume is coming from. 24-hour volume for Solana is 1.07 billion over on Ethereum. So that shows that Ethereum and Solana share the market share. So if you want to go for higher liquidity concerned with volume, then you have more opportunities there. If you go for a lower chain, then liquidity will be smaller and there'll be fewer and fewer opportunities on that particular ecosystem. But it's based on you want to position yourself long term, or you're looking for short term gains. So there's so many different factors in terms of how much a blockchain actually generates in money and dollar value every 24 hours. And that can strategically allow you to place, all right, this is exactly where I want to pinpoint. This is exactly where I want to pivot. And it gives you all your base of options. So you have Ethereum, you have Solana, you have base. You can just scroll all the way down. You have tons starting at Injector, even growing on. Cardano is probably somewhere. I know that's one home chain, but Cardano is somewhere just within on this list. All right, number 28 in TVL. So, and that just comes in at like 3 million, almost 3.95 million. So you can see that's a dramatic difference from something that's, you know, like Optimism that's getting 67, or like base that's getting almost 300 million per day. If 300 million per day was being on Cardano would be just in cloud 9 right now. So that just kind of shows you like the contrast. And then they have some smaller chains like Hedera. So it just depends on how you position yourself. I know people are moving and they dominate one entire ecosystem, and as that ecosystem rise, think about strategically if you partner up with all these different dApps, people that's create those developments, and that's the opportunity that's presented itself in here with these different blockchains to understand these ecosystems. But that's just an overview and a wrap up. I'll do a quick recap to break everything down and explain all these opportunities. All right, guys, just want to do a quick recap and breakdown of what was talked about. Just things that was discussed, particularly within the blockchain. So I know we went over smart contracts. We went over just different blocks as far as blocks of information or just stored blocks that's behind each other in a transparent ledger and resource. And then also just with the blockchain in general, just to solve as far as transparency systems,
how you could just take blockchain and the concept of blockchain and build on top, whether you're in healthcare, entertainment, retail, fashion, and gaming. It does not matter. So there's a lot of just different components with the blockchain. And I definitely don't expect you just watching this video, don't expect to put pressure on yourself in terms of learning this all in one try. It took many years of studying and research. So just definitely take your time just along this process. But there's like many different benefits. Just also discussing the ecosystem maps. I know we went over Bitcoin, went over Solana, Cardano, and there's ones that I actually left out. I left out like Ethereum, I left out Binance. So definitely pay attention. Those are two major ecosystems as well. But I also want to get into, what exactly benefit of learning blockchain ecosystem maps and why I should do this. What's going to actually motivate you into action? Well, first thing I'll say is you just get informed investment decisions in terms of being on a Pacific network and specifically in that sector. And then you be able to, strategically look at just different aspects within that particular technology adapt that's built on that Pacific blockchain, and then factor in volume, how much volume per day, how much liquidity is coming into that chain, so you get to make informed investment decisions. The next thing I'll get into is I'll say navigation around the space. You'll be able to navigate and network with people strategically all over these different blockchains. I met people personally in Hedera, I met people in VeChain, I met people over in Solana, I met people over on Cardano, Bitcoin. It does not matter. And you can be able to, network with different people that stay on that particular chain. It could be a great resource, and that allows you to be in more places at once. And then the last thing I'll say is you just have strategic planning. I've seen just different people build ecosystems with a particular blockchain that they believe in, and partner up with all developers, dApps, coders, just everybody that's built platforms on the ecosystem. And as that ecosystem rises in the network, then that also person benefits by the rising of that ecosystem. So I know people that do that in the space, and definitely shout outs to them. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, make sure you share the video. I'll be shooting more beginner videos and content, just breaking out different concepts in Web3 in the space. I'll catch you in the next one.